Hey, this is Randy. I got a few minutes before I turn my phone on. I get to work early, but I don't turn my phone on until a certain time. Uh, just coming out of K-Pro and Cow's chat, confused because I came in really late. I guess she did go over her solve and people didn't like it, but I wait because I found out, when I get to work, I'm usually missing videos. So I notice that when I go right into a video at work, like the chat takes longer to process, and like the video will be there and there won't be any chat. So I usually wait a couple hours, and that way I can watch the video and the chat at the same time. Um, I just wanted to tell you it's been an awful, awful week. You've probably noticed I haven't been online much. Um, they're working on the electrical here at the building, so I got lights going off and on around me. But I don't know if you can tell how bright these are. They've replaced all the light fixtures from the neon light fixtures to fluorescent, and they've actually replaced the fixtures so they're more reflective. They're brand new. They're just blinding. I'm used to working at night. Tonight was the first night I came into the building and it was absolutely dark because in the process of doing this, there's certain lights that are on 24/7. You can't shut them off. And in the process of doing this, they shut those lights off. So it's weird coming into the building and have it be absolutely dark, especially since I watch ghost videos all day long. So it's different. And I just noticed some of the lights came back on. Anyway, that was a distraction. Um, so yeah, I do wait, and that way I can see the chat, see what people are saying. Because during a video they'll reference the chat sometimes. I'm like, oh, I wonder what was said in the chat. But yeah, I had the most. I can't even tell you how horrible it is. My friend has COVID. She has a bad, bad heart, and she works nights, the same shift I do, and so her sleep schedule's all messed up. So now that she's homesick, she's kind of awake at night, and we'll chat. At about 3, 4 in the morning, she finally falls asleep. And at that point, I have to wait because I'm not going to text her every hour and wake her up because she needs her sleep. She really does. And it's like, ugh, I want to text, and um, that's the emotional side of my brain is going, text her, text her, text her, and the logical side of my brain is going, no, let her sleep, let her rest, let her, she needs this rest. And so when she does fall asleep, I have to just patiently wait because then, like after 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, I'm going wild. I'm like, oh, she had a heart attack in her sleep. I gotta tell you, should I call the nurse? Should I call her apartment manager? Um, and I'm freaking out. And I get home, and well, first I got out of work and I had a flat tire, and so it wasn't totally flat. I was able to get into town to a tire store, but they didn't open for like 40 minutes, and I actually sat and waited for them to open. So I'm dying, and I'm checking my phone like every 5 minutes because I happened to send her a message as she was falling asleep that she didn't check, and I get read receipts, and so I'm just like checking read receipt. Is there a read receipt? Um, I'm going crazy, like it's only 4 hours. Let her sleep at least 8. So I get a flat, and I get home and I'm just dead tired, from being up all night. And I get home and one of my cats was obviously sick because there was puke from one end of my apartment to the other, and in the laundry room and on a chair somehow. And I'm just like, oh, and with everything going on, I'm like, oh, I can't deal with a sick cat right now, and I'm cleaning this mess up, and I'm running out. You got to have this special enzyme to clean up cat puke, and I'm running out of it, and it must have been fresh because it was all wet and gooey. Um, it was just awful. And so I'm sitting there and I check my phone one last time and I lay down in bed and I passed out. I wake up, it's only been like 2 or 3 hours, so I didn't get much sleep. And of course, first thing I do is I'm looking at my phone, there's still no read receipt. And I'm freaking out, because this happens every time she's silent for more than an hour, I freak out. And I wake up and I'm checking the receipts. I'm like, oh, and I get up and I noticed Cow and K-Pro went live. And I thought, oh, and on my phone, the subject line for the video gets truncated on my phone. So I didn't even see what it was, and I clicked it, and K-Pro was crying, and Mike was, he was like, these things happen, and this, we knew this was going to happen. And I didn't even need to wait anymore. I shut it right off. I was like, I mean, personally, I had told myself, just from, I've worked with a lot of elderly people in my life, and I was like, I don't think, personally, I don't think Forrest is going to make it to the end of the year. I've never voiced that publicly, just given this state he was in, and seeing some of the things he was doing. I'm like, no. And that's why when people were saying, oh, what's next for Forrest, is he going to do another hunt, the first thing I would say is, don't expect anything. He wants to rest. When you get to that age, you just want to rest and take it easy. You're not thinking about doing another hunt. And so I mean, that was just like, that was just too much, because I came off a rough night of work, and we're going through this COVID thing, and I just haven't been talking to anybody. I've been keeping to myself, and my family is like, they haven't even been checking in on me and stuff, and so I'm just like alone in my apartment, just fighting all this stuff, and so I see that, and I'm sitting back, and then I feel it. It's a tingling sensation in my chest and a tingling sensation in my head. And it's like my 15 to 30-second warning that I'm about to have a seizure. Now, I have a seizure maybe once, twice a year, and it's usually brought on by stress or something. It doesn't just happen. There's always something that's there when it happens. And I was already sitting on the couch, so I sat back and I grabbed the 2 end pillows, and that's the last thing I remember. And if you've never had a seizure before, I don't know, because I black out. I don't know what happens. But I know that when you wake up, it's like the most peaceful, beautiful, heavenly feeling ever. And I can't describe it. It's just like my brain has been wiped. There's no thoughts in my head. There's no pain. I don't feel any pain, because usually my ankles or my knees are hurting, or my abdomen. And no pain, and I'm just kind of laying there, and I don't really know what happened. I'm just like in this really peaceful state. And I know from what my kids have told me, they've seen me have a seizure. They say my eyes disappear and my body jerks around. And one time I had a seizure, and I was standing up in the bathroom, and when I fell, I ripped the towel rack off the wall. And the towel rack, when you pull the towel rack like out of its holders, it's just a piece of metal. And I landed with that towel rack jammed up in my eye. And I know you guys probably don't notice this, but whenever I watch one of my videos, I'm like, I can see the layers of my eyelid droop down over the side, because this is all scar tissue, and I broke my bone up here. And just a fraction of an inch, and I would have lost my eyeball. But yeah, it's so even then, like, I wake up and I'm covered in blood, and because I like pulled a whole chunk of my skin off, and I'm just still get that peaceful. Just, you don't want, and I'm trying to like keep it. You don't want to lose this feeling, but then thoughts start coming in, like, oh, I remember, Forrest Fenn just died, and it's like, these thoughts start coming in, and the thing that kind of jerked me awake was, I wonder if there's a read receipt. And of course, I'm grabbing my phone, I'm looking, and that kind of woke me up. I'm like, oh, there's still no read receipt. And so I'm sitting there, and I have a thing I go through whenever I have a seizure. I wake up, I check my fingers, and I'm like moving my arms, I'm making sure I have no broken bones. I'm checking my face to make sure I didn't bite anything or anything. No blood on me. It's just kind of a thing I go through when I wake up and realize, because sometimes I just fall asleep, and that's not a seizure. But when I realize what happens, I always go through this checklist. And I'm going through it, and I'm like, I'm going to text this anyway. I texted my friend, I said, I just wanted you to know Forrest Fenn passed away. And I'd sat back, and I'm like checking myself, and I looked down, and there was a read receipt. And I'm telling you, it was just like, with all the things that were going on, and I could hear the cat like puking somewhere. So I know that's going on, and everything, and the flat tire, and I'm wondering how to pay for all this stuff, and my phone just moved, and it's like I lost it. I just absolutely, that was like the good news that broke the camel's back, because it was just like a flood of emotions. Like she woke up, and I'm just so happy. I got a read receipt, and then she texted like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," and I lost it. I must have cried for an hour, and oh, it was just awful. And then I had to pull myself together. Uh, we did do the GoFundMe, and I was just shocked, and I just put this in the chat. I hate emotions, and I hate asking for help, and I just, I was brought up. My dad was a manly man, and I was brought up to never ask for help. And when you're sick, when you have COVID, when you have a flu or anything, like sometimes your mind will fixate on something, and she was fixated on how long, because right now we're going on day 10. At the time it was like day 5 or 7, and that's the hard part. If you can get to day 10 from what her doctor says, then it's downhill from there. Then you've passed the worst part of it. And so at the time, and I've heard this was a symptom, but she couldn't smell anything, she couldn't taste anything. She was crying because she couldn't smell the cat, but she was fixated on her rent, because if she doesn't pay her rent, she loses her housing assistance. And because she's working, she's not actually getting housing assistance, but she's on housing assistance in case she ever lost her job again, because she's already qualified. But if she misses a rent payment, then she gets taken off, and she has to requalify all over again, which can take 6-7 months. So she was all freaking out about, I'm not missing my, and I'm like, don't worry about your rent payment, I'll figure it out. And that was like a last resort for me. I said, I'll just do a GoFundMe. I'll do a really quick one. I'll make it small, just enough to cover the rent. It did go a little bit above that because I didn't stop it in time, but I'm just humbled and amazed, and I want to thank everybody that donated. And I'm looking, and it said, I did the withdrawal just like that night before, and it said, expect your withdrawal on the 16th. I was like, oh, that's weeks away. So that was like another thing that hit me. Luckily, it didn't take that long, but I was like, I got to call the housing and say, look, can you work with me here, and luckily it showed up in my account already, so I didn't have to worry about that. But that was just another thing, and so my emotional state was just all over the board. There was things I was ecstatically happy about, and things that I was ecstatically horrified of, and it was just the worst day ever. And I knew I had to work, and that night was horrible because I didn't get any more sleep than that, just a couple hours, and I had to babysit, and the kids they fight, and it's just because they're like 7 and 5, and it's just, I get to work. I actually fell asleep during a meeting, and I got yelled at by my boss because I fell asleep. It was a phone meeting, so they didn't see me fall asleep, but apparently somebody asked me a question and I didn't respond, and my boss extrapolated that I fell asleep during the phone meeting. So I got yelled at for that. But hopefully I'm back on track. I came in tonight, and there was they've given me 15 things to do, which is going to take about 5 days, and I'm supposed to get it done by the morning, because I'm the miracle worker here. And we've had a person retire and a person quit, and so we're working very shorthanded, and they're working from home, and we can't bring anyone in to train them because we're still on lockdown. We can't even have contractors come in. I'm amazed they're working on the lights. They've been working on the lights for the last 3 nights, and there's no one here during the day. I don't know if they're actually working during the day, but last night they worked all night long. And so tonight when I came in, all the lights were off. That was just really freaky. I'm like, I've never seen, as long as I've worked here, there's hallways that are dark, and then there's hallways that have the automatic, they have sensors, so when you walk down the hallway, the lights automatically turn on, and none of those are working. So I'm just walking through this pitch dark building, and it's a whole different ball game when it's a pitch dark building. But and then I come in here and I turn the lights on. I'm like, I'm gonna need sunglasses to work in here. It's just so stinking bright. Um, but yeah, just I know I haven't been posting much lately, and I know I haven't. I don't think I've touched Facebook in the longest time because I usually do stupid things on Facebook and joke and stuff, and I just don't feel like joking. I am so. I mean, I know we're going past day 10, but I am so worried about my friend, and I'm so. She texted me tonight. She says I could smell a tomato, and then because she makes her own perfume, and so she has these samples, and she's like, I went through my samples, and I could smell my samples in my cat, and I could taste the tomato, and I'm just like I'm just texting back, oh, that's great, you know. Meanwhile, I'm losing it again, going, oh my God, hopefully she's going to get through this without any issue. And like I've seen her EKG and her, you know, before COVID, it was just all over the place because, you know, I can't remember if I explained this before, but her condition causes her heart to race uncontrollably. And it's weird because during COVID, it made that level and it made it really low. And that actually makes her feel better when her heart's at a slower rate. And so that was kind of a weird thing that came out of this, is that it leveled her heartbeat, but we don't know now, you know, now that the virus is running its course. And then she got a note from her boss that says, come back to work as soon as you can. We don't require a negative test result. We don't require a doctor's excuse. And she's like, this is how she caught COVID, because work is not where she works. And it's funny because I work in a factory and we have all kinds of controls. I have to have my temperature taken. You know, when I come up the driveway to the parking lot, I have to have my temperature taken by a nurse, and they've actually built a shack that's permanent now for the nurse to sit in. And every car coming in, truck drivers that have to go to the docks, everyone gets their temperature taken. And if it's over 100, you're sent back. And they've sent people home because they were over 100. We've only had 2 cases here. We're the largest, well, we're the second largest employer in town. The hospital is the largest employer, and we're the second largest. And we've only had 2 confirmed cases here, and then we're just on total lockdown. And most people are still working from home. I'm one of the few people that come in, and you know, where she works, it's a recovery center. There's people that come in, and these are people who are like recovering alcoholics, and they're just refusing to wear masks. And you know, half the staff has been out with confirmed, you know, positive COVID, and half the patients have COVID, and they're just not. They don't even require masks there, and it's just, you know, when I go out, I have these like laying all over the place. So whenever I go out, if I'm going to interact with people, I have to put the mask on. You know, when I'm here at night, I'm the only person in the building. But in the morning, around 6 o'clock, I have to put my mask on because there's a couple people that come in and then I leave. But we have to wear and we're required to wear a mask all the way to our car. But they're just like, we don't even require a test. Just come back in as soon as you can. And she's like, I'm going to catch it again. I don't know. I know there's some cases where people caught it again, but hopefully she's got the antibodies now. And like I said, it's day 10, so hopefully it's downhill from here. But her being able to smell a tomato and smell her perfume samples and stuff was just like, again, I'm just like, please, just. I told her the other day, I says, if anything happened to you, I'm just going to melt into the earth, and I probably would. But anyway, just wanted to let everyone know, and this is coming off a nice trip I had. I thought for sure I was going to catch COVID at some point in Denver, but you know, checking the token was wonderful. Camping out, I camped on the very same spot that Butch Cassidy and his gang camped on when they were hiding from the law. And it's weird, you know, just I kept having these visions of being in the past, and you know, picturing his campfire compared to my campfire, you know, just because I'm on the same spot. And it's kind of a neat piece of history to be able to do that. And Of course, I didn't make the Fen finale. I don't regret that. I made it a choice, and I think I would have been worse off if I'd stayed, because coming back early, that's when I found out my friend had COVID. Um, so yeah, I've just been quiet, and hopefully I'll get back on track here. I did meet a milestone. Um, I have private milestones that I said that when I meet those, uh, I would give out a clue or a hint. So I got a hint and a clue I need to give out, and apparently there's a difference now. So, um, but yeah, I will do a video on those, and I've got a video like scripted out for the, because I'm not just going to give a clue. I'm going to make you work for it, and so I've got a video planned out for the clue. I just haven't been up to it. I mean, I'm sorry, but I am an emotional wreck right now, and I haven't been up to it. But I'll get to it. Things are starting. I think it'd be worse if there was a memorial service. I hear there's not going to be a memorial service, because then I'm anticipating a memorial service, and then that's going to be like, that's like a punch, It's like, but without that, I can heal and then get closure and stuff. But and like I said, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for, my friend is, as I'm sitting here, she's like, oh, I've tasted a tomato, and I've tasted, what else did she taste? She's talking about how she could taste her pills now and stuff. So, yeah, that's a good sign. She's getting her senses back. So, anyway, oh God, I've gone over by a minute. So, I just wanted to get this out there, and it's time for me to turn on my phones now and get to work. Uh, by the way, this is not common. It's the only Mac we have worldwide. Uh, it holds a program from our Mexican factory. So everything else we have is Dell. You can see our Dells all over the place. But I just noticed that it's over my shoulder. I said, no, don't think we work with Apple products. It's just a holdover from an old factory that had a program that was written for Apple, and no one has the source code, so we got to keep it going. And right now we're trying to figure out how to do backups on it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and hopefully I'll see you all later.